we have another item that I know a number of people are here interested in, and that is Berman Academy. And we are joined by Senator to be Roger Mano, and also by delegate who is Ben Kramer. And
Dr. Lee, you want to come back up and introduce item 15? The committee and the senator-elect and delegate come on. Dr. Lee, that's going to be item 4.
The item is to approve the sale of the former Perry High School property to the Hebrew Academy. The IEC approved this at their most recent meeting. At the request of the county government, we bifurcated the issue so that the sale would be approved separately. I understand that they requested that because the acquisition cost that's been negotiated only holds for another 2 days from today. And in the meantime, we need to calculate whether the state is owed back any funds from the sale. The county has already repaid all of the outstanding bond debt that was repaid when the school system transferred the property to the county government. So that's not an issue at all. And we're in the process of communicating right now with the county government to arrive at a final settlement about the amount of money that would be owed back to the state.
So this is simply approve the transfer, not
The sale.
get into the question.
That's correct. We'll come back to you. If money is owed back to the state, which I believe it is, we'll be coming back to you probably in January with a motion on the announcement.
Senator Mano, anything you'd like to add? Delegate? They're also joined by Ron Halber of the JCRC. We have a number of other distinguished guests who are here with us, assumed from the Berman Academy. Janice, no?
I think Daneman is from the Berman Academy, and Diane Schwartz-Jones is from Montgomery County. We have 3 other individuals who've asked to speak, and I'm not sure that they're necessarily in
Okay.
order.
All right, well, let's go, let's start first with Roger Mano.
Thank you, Mr. Governor, Madam Treasurer, Mr. Comptroller. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Firstly, we appreciate your service and look forward to our tough work these next 4 years. But I'm glad that we're all together again. We are here to support the transaction, the sale of the academy by Montgomery County to the Berman Academy. Just by way of background, the delegation in District 19, the incoming delegation, supports this sale. Myself, Delegate Kramer, the 2 delegates-elect, Roy and Cullison. The sale was approved by the planning board unanimously. It was approved 8-1 by the county council. The county executive supports it, and the IEC last week voted unanimously to support. In 1960, the Perry School came into existence in Aspen Hill, and for 24 years served the Aspen Hill community. It was closed in 1984 due to declining enrollment in the area. The school board allowed for the unoccupied school to kind of fall into a state of disrepair. And for 3 years it remained that way, and it was eventually transferred back to Montgomery County, where it remained for until 1994. And by that time it had really come into a state of disrepair. And the county put out bids for a private school to take over the site for a long-term lease. And the Hebrew Academy of Greater Washington bid and took over the former Perry School for a 30-year lease with an option to purchase. It invested substantial dollars, almost $9 million in bringing the facility up to standards of having a school there, and have been maintained pursuant to the lease signed in 1996, the facilities for public use, the track and field, and the auditorium, and it really has been a model partner with the county in the revitalization of the Aspen Hill community. Just one last thing about the option. The option contained, or the contract which contained the lease, the option provision contain covenants that the school shall forever after only be used as a school. So with regard to the sale price, and I appreciate the Board of Public Works bifurcating the transactional sale issue from the price issue, that sale can only be, in the future, made for the purposes of a school. So some of the reports that you might hear and you have heard about what the value of that property is are extremely exaggerated. That property can only be used as a school. It will never be a commercial property for commercial development or a residential property. So that's why the price is reflected as it is. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I very much appreciate your consideration of this issue and Governor O'Malley for taking us so early. And we hope for your favorable vote today.
Thank you, Senator. Delegate, anything to say?
Good morning, Governor O'Malley, Treasurer Cobb, Comptroller Francho. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here this morning. I will keep my comments brief. I believe Senator-elect Mano covered all the basics, but I would just ask for your enthusiastic support of the transfer of the former Perry High School to the Melvin Berman. This is a transaction that has been years in the making, and the Berman Academy, when it was induced into signing a contract with the county with the knowledge of having an option to purchase, they willingly invested millions of dollars into what was absolutely a community blight. And they have been wonderful partners with the community. As you heard the senator say, this transaction has had the overwhelming support of Park and Planning in Montgomery County, our county council, our county executive, and the IAC unanimously recommended the transaction. I ask that you honor that and allow the Academy to have the opportunity to continue the fine work that they are doing in Montgomery County. I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to be heard on this matter? All right.
Good morning, thank you. My name is Diane Schwartz-Jones. I work for County Executive Isaiah Leggett, and I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak on this. I think, I don't want to repeat anything that anybody has said, but I think a few more facts are very relevant to this. First of all, I also want to thank staff for allowing the bifurcation of these issues. The sale, the price, that's what is in front of you today. The amount of proceeds that will be payable to the state is the matter that's going to come back. Our staff have worked it out. We are in agreement on what that amount is, and we'll be bringing it back to the IAC and back to the Board of Public Works. The former Perry High School, you heard the dates that it closed, but there are a couple other things I think that are very, very relevant. In 1996, the county had a problem on its hands. It had a school that was in a terrible state. There were drug deals going on inside the school. There were hypodermic needles found inside the school. It was, I forget the exact number of acres, but approximately 20 acres of building. The ceiling was falling down. There was graffiti all over it. I've got pictures if the board is interested in receiving them. And the county didn't have the funds to turn around, nor did MCPS under its own stewardship have the funds to turn around and stop this building from being a blight, stop it from being a drain on the community. And so with the approval of the county council, with a resolution approving the sale or the disposition of the property, the county executive, the executive branch, then County Executive Doug Duncan, did a solicitation to find a use. The Berman Academy, what is now known as the Berman Academy, was the successful responder. There wasn't a lot of interest, and they agreed that they wanted to acquire the property and they were willing to do what it took to restore this building to a good state, and that is what they did. At that time, we set the price. It was agreed. It was a lease with an option to purchase. We set the price. It's based on appraisals. There were 3 appraisals based on what the property is actually zoned as. The property is zoned as residential, single-family residential property. They agreed to make the fields available to public use. They agreed to make the auditorium available to public use. They agreed to make the gymnasium available to public use. And for the next 15 years, that's exactly what they've been doing. They intended to purchase it outright. They raised funds for that purpose. But recognizing the need and the extreme need to renovate this property, they went about renovating it for a cash investment of $9 million approximately, an untold amount of sweat equity that went into restoring this property. They now educate 700 students there, more than 700 students. They have been trying for the past probably 10 years to purchase this property. That was their intention initially. Why do I tell it to you this way? Because I also want you to know that this is not news to the Board of Public Works. In 1998, on December 2nd, 1998, the Board of Public Works approved the lease purchase option. So clearly what the deal was known at that time. Now we have a request for approval before you. They're exercising the option. And as you've heard, everybody has agreed to this exercise. It's a slightly modified exercise of the option and slightly modified to the betterment of the public good. It is modified because there's a covenant that will now be on the property that the fields will remain for public use and not one penny to Montgomery County or to the state, for that matter, in perpetuity. The auditorium and the gymnasium remain available to public use. If for some reason school use, and there's a covenant that the building can only be used for school, if for some reason it's not used for school, the county can repurchase it, or MCPS can repurchase it at the very same 1998 price that the county is being paid for it now. It's the 1998 price adjusted for CPI. So we can repurchase it at the same price and at the same 1998 construction prices for the improvements that were made, and we would get the full benefit of the sweat equity that the Berman Academy has invested in this property. So this is a win-win-win, and I've described it that way previously. It's a win for the county, it's a win for the state, it's a win for the community, and it's a win for the Berman Academy. And by the continuing education of these 700 students in Montgomery County at the Berman Academy, Montgomery County Public Schools does not have the burden of educating these students. So I will answer any questions that the board might have. We thank you for your favorable, what we hope will be your favorable consideration, and I will look forward to seeing you all in January to inform you on what the share proceeds is back to the state. Thank you.
Controller? Has the agreement been reached already on what the proceeds to the state are?
Yes, we agreed with staff, with your staff. It is $82,402.
Much?
$82,402. I'd like to add that the purchase price is based on the land because, as the appraisals noted, as we thought at the time and as the appraisal substantiated, the building was in such a bad state it added nothing to the value of the land, and the highest and best use for single-family residential, so it would have had to have been taken down, which it wasn't. It was completely restored. If the highest and best value of the land were to be realized. It's also noteworthy that while we're being paid for it as if it could be developed as single-family housing, with those covenants on the field, the school covenant, none of that can ever happen, and no developer would ever pay what we're going to get for this land. Any other questions? Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else want to be heard on this matter?
Ms. Artucci, Ms. Brennefield, and Ms. Hurwitz is here. Now it's time to stand up. We have Artucci, Brennefield, Hurwitz. Okay.
Dr. Lieber, anything about this unusual? Madam?
There was nothing unusual in the process of the transaction calculation. The only thing unusual was the request to bifurcate the issue, which we thought was fine. I mean, we didn't see any objection to that at all. The IEC didn't see any objection when we brought it to them.
This isn't the first time a county sold an old school.
No, not by any means. It's a very normal process. Actually,
We do appraisals, and this is the way this goes, huh?
calculate whether there is any potential money that comes back to the state, and then there is the Board of Public Works does have discretion about whether to forgive the money or not on the recommendation of the IAC. In this case, we didn't see any particular reason to recommend that, so we're in the process of finalizing.
All right. win-win in the sense that obviously something that was an eyesore, and frankly a danger for the community, your testimony, sorry, I forgot your name, but whatever it is, we appreciate the data that you brought from the county executive's office because it was a danger to the community, and you turned it into something that obviously is a very successful and vibrant center of life and learning in the community. The Berman Hebrew Academy is thriving success. I want to thank the Jewish Federation and others who communicated with me because they've done something which is extraordinary here, and I believe they have the support of the community and everything I gather, except I assume there's some critics perhaps, but I think it's a very good resolution to a long-standing problem. Not easy to do in these economic times, and I'm sure that the payment, although modest, is something that can be worked out and brought back before us, but I'm very appreciative of the many individuals that spoke to me very eloquently about the need for this proposal to move forward. Anybody else have anything on this one? How about anything else on the balance of the Secretary's agenda? Okay, Treasurer moves approval, seconded by the Controller. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations. Thank you. We now move on to Department of Budget. I'm sorry, Open Space. I should know this by heart by now, shouldn't I?
Good morning, Governor, Madam President, Mr. Comptroller, Meredith Laxbury, from the Department of Natural Resources. We have 13 items on the open space agenda today. For people, projects, people legacy conservation funds, and 7 conservation and enhancement programs. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Program Open Space?